Joining us now on the Megacast is Adamiak. He is the executive director of Arts and Scraps, a nonprofit that is working to take reusable materials and turn them into educational materials. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks so much. I'm so glad to be here with you.
Appreciate having you on. So first off, tell us about Arts and Scraps and how this idea came to mind and the origins of this organization, taking recycled materials and turning them into products that are usable for educational purposes.
So we were founded in 1989 by a teacher and a couple of her friends. And her husband worked at a manufacturing plant and was seeing all the stuff that was being thrown away. And so she saw those materials and thought, this would be great for my classroom and my friends' classrooms. So she started to gather those materials and gather feedback from other teachers of what could be used. And over time, it grew and grew and grew into an entire store. And then over time, people started asking her, how are you teaching with these materials? Tell me more about how you're doing that. Will you teach with these materials? And that turned into our whole educational side of what we do.
And it's interesting too, because you go to their website, you go to artsandscraps.org. The first picture you see is someone from Arts and Scraps that's holding up what looks like a model truck that is made out of recyclable materials. And you're thinking, well, how do you take something from your recycling bin and turn it into something like that looks like a regular run of the mill toy truck that you'd pick up in a toy store or anywhere else, and use that as an example? It's really interesting how you can bring recycled materials into almost anything. So what is the process that your organization goes through to collect those materials for one, and then not only collect them, but turn them in to these various different materials that are used for so many different purposes in classrooms and beyond?
Absolutely. We have about 200 businesses that donate to us every year their scraps that would have been thrown away. Sometimes it's overprints or misprints. Sometimes it's something that was a cut that would have ended up, in the garbage, and instead it comes to us. And then we have thousands and thousands of individuals that donate materials to us as well. And some of those go into our store, and some of those go into our educational kits. And really, what makes it all work is we have a really unique educational philosophy that helps students learn the core curriculum that they have to learn in their everyday classroom, and then we come in and are able to enhance what's already going on, and teach something based on those state and national standards, but then that allow them to use their own creativity and ideas to come up with their own version of what we're working on. My favorite way for people to understand this is for me to explain one of our core curriculum. My favorite is our space and alien kit. We talk about what makes a planet versus a star, moon, whatever else is up there. Super typical lesson for second through fourth grade kids. And we will have students decide what characteristics of their imaginary new planet they're going to have. And they will utilize those characteristics to build with recycled materials the alien that would live on their imaginary planet. So we have everything from the super analytical child that says, my planet's really close to the sun, so it's going to be really hot and have lots of gravity. So my alien will have, maybe no bones and reflective skin to like handle the heat of the sun, all the way to the very creative child that says, my planet is best hair day every planet, and it's going to have beautiful curly colorful hair. And to that child, instead of saying, no, you did it wrong, which is typically what they would get in a classroom environment where they have to memorize facts, instead, we say, that's awesome. Let's go back and edit your imaginary planet to make it match your alien. So we really are able to teach that core curriculum through children's ideas being validated, and learning through their own ideas.
Joined by the executive director of Arts and Scraps, Ange Adamiak, on today's edition of the Megacast. You can find more information and join in on some of the fun with their programs at artsandscraps.org. That's artsandscraps.org for more information. And of course, this is great. These are great programs for kids to enhance their learning and to supplement their learning in the classroom. But can adults also join in on the fun, Ange?
Absolutely. Our store is full of adults that are there for fun. And at Arts and Scraps, we have a saying that we always use, which is, if we're not having fun, we're doing it wrong. So even our staff, we're always trying to find places to have fun. And what's one of my favorite parts of our store is people come together and meet each other just based on the materials that they're trying to find, and end up forming lifelong friendships just because they were both shopping in Arts and Scraps, talking about how they're going to use our unique materials for whatever they're doing. So please, please, please stop in.
So tell us more about the community store. Where is it located? What are the hours? And what are some of the items that people can pick up at your community store?
So Arts and Scraps is located on Harper Avenue, on the far east side of Detroit, just south of Whittier or Cadue, right off of 94. And we're open on Tuesdays and Thursdays from 11 to 6 and Saturdays from 11 to 4. And you can find everything from industrial scraps, as we've been talking about, all the way to fine art materials. So paint and, colored pencils and watercolor paints and canvases on a good day, things like that. It's all donated materials, everything for sewing, everything for, knitting, crocheting. But we also have funky things like I always joke that we're where old media goes to die, right? Like we have beta tapes and we have cassette tapes and 8 tracks and albums and even down to CDs and DVDs, as everything's come from digital all the way to being cloud based. All that stuff ends up at Arts and Scraps. We also have industrial scraps from interior designers. They get sample books every 3 months and they have to throw them away. Instead, they come to Arts and Scraps. We have volunteers that process those materials and then they're ready for people to take them home with them and turn them into something new. It really is a wide array of materials that you really can utilize for a lot of different projects, whether it's fixing up your house or starting a new hobby or anything in between.
It's great too. You can get some tutorials on how to use these products in a number of different ways on their YouTube channel. Just go to youtube.com and search Arts and Scraps while you're over there. Subscribe to their channel too and like their videos to help them out too and promoting all the great things that they're doing at Arts and Scraps. And as we're joined today by their executive director, Andrew Adamiak, on today's edition of the Megacast, artsandscraps.org for more information. So, talking about those tutorials, what are some of the tutorial videos that are available at this time that can really help people take these materials they're getting from your community store and really engage with them in a way that's educational and a whole lot of fun?
Yeah, through 2020, we wanted to give some tutorial videos because we started to give out what we called creative supply kits to students in Detroit. We gave out over 9,500 of these kits. And so we wanted to give some examples of what students and parents could do with the materials at home. So we have everything from like home weaving tutorials on our YouTube channel, all the way to stop motion videos of some of our kits that we've made, and everything in between. So it really can show you the width and breadth of some of our materials and how they can be utilized. Because we know that because they are unique materials, sometimes you need a little bit of help to understand how to utilize them.
More information, again, can be found on artsandscraps.org, artsandscraps.org for more information. You can also call them 313 640 4411. 313 640 4411 for more information. And if people want to get involved, they want to help out this organization, continue to do the great work that it does. What are some of the key ways that they can help out right now?
Yeah, so we have lots of volunteer programs. If you go to our website, there's a tab that's called volunteers. It has an intake form that'll help us place you in the right spot. We usually work with about 5,000 volunteers a year, everything from groups of up to 20, all the way down to individuals and what they want to work on, whether it's helping at a community event or even bringing your skills to the table. You can always watch Volunteer Match and Catch a Fire to see if we have special opportunities for volunteers as well. The other big thing that we have coming up is that in 2023, we're starting a program called Safe Space Saturdays, and we need donations. We need help with install to renovate our classroom. We need as much volunteer help as we can get to make sure that we can offer free programming every Saturday in 2023 to the community, no matter where you're coming from. We want to create a safe space for kids to be for free on Saturdays.
Oh, well, Ange, we appreciate you joining us. Before we let you go, any other information we should know about Arts and Scraps or things we should keep in mind at this time for the future and keep an eye out for?
Yeah, one of the things that people really get confused about is, can I bring my recycling to you? And the base thing that we like to tell people is, if it can go in your recycling bin, put it in your recycling bin, because 9 times out of 10, that's the best way for it to go. But if you have creative materials or if you're connected to manufacturing in some way and you see materials you think that could come to Arts and Scraps to help put back into the community resources in an accessible way, give us a call, let us know. And then really and truly, we always are looking for new people that or companies that want to work with us in order to bring more programming to the community through sponsorships or donations, so that we can continue to give as much access to our materials, but also our programs as possible.
Artsandscraps.org is the website for more information, and artsandscraps.org/volunteer for more info on how you can get involved with the organization in Detroit. Ange, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you so much for having me.